Greetings and salutations, everybody. My name is DarkX1, and today, as previously stated, we aren't going to be looking at your typical Royal Series customs, but we are going to be looking at some of the dry Brook and Esopus Valley stock we have. Yeah. You probably might have known this have you been around for more than a year and had seen the previous video or skit I did, but hey, let's revisit that idea. Starting off with Lucky, and as you can see by the tender and the alterations, this ain't the same Lucky you'd see in the promo. And that's because, in this take of mine, the DBEV spared a lot better than was seen in the Approach Medium, future predictions. And that's because I feel like being closer to New York, and just generally the vibe of the railroad was going for, it probably would have fared a lot like the Reading Blue Mountain Northern, or even the Grand Canyon in terms of its status. And so I've depicted that by giving that Grand Canyon flair to 13, with the tender coming off, at least in terms of lore, being from a Chicago Rock Island Pacific 482, cut down obviously and turned into more of an oil burning tender, or a general fuel burning tender. No coal here, no more. And obviously there's a face, because most of my stuff has a face. Give you a quick once over. Turn. And the lining on the tender obviously had to be that way in order to make it at least look decent. Because not to bash the lining on the other tender, the tender it's supposed to have, it probably wouldn't have flowed as well as this new lining I've given it. So, yeah. And moving Lucky over to the side, we're going to be taking a look at the oldest stock here from the actual skid I was talking about. This is the SW1500 in question, 9588. This was the number the engine won the promo, and as such, it is the firm number I shall be keeping for this SW1500. And as you can tell, it's very old. I did my best in the past on getting the patchwork paint job right. The sun bleach roof was a no-go, but it is starting to get there due to the age. And just generally speaking, yeah. It still holds the time, but it will need a revamp at some point. Next up, the Jeep. The GP9 403. This was one of the recent ones and was a part of the, kickback in terms of getting back into it. And frankly, out of the three diesels, I feel a bit more drawn because of how much work I had to put into the lining. Because I had to make both sides at the same time in order to get the lining just right to fit properly on both ends, as you can see here. As it just barely manages to fit perfectly. But, did my best, and I'd say it paid off very well. And that's this move for you. And I guess lastly, let's take a look at the RS1, the OG resident of the reinstated DBEV. As you can obviously tell, riding the full Penn Central logo was a no-go from jump because of how long it is and how my models are the size of my thumb. But I coped, and I did what I could. And giving a quick once-over, it's very close to real-life RS1. Obviously, it might be a bit shorter compared to the others. But, you know, size matters not. And then a quick bonus before we wrap up, because I am exhausted. This is my second take, if you didn't know. We'll be looking at the Lehigh Valley Observation Car. Well, business car, technically, too. Fleischmann's. The name is obviously written pretty poorly, but I poured a lot of detail into the lining and into molding the handrails. So I'd say it deserves a little shout out. But yeah, that's mostly it. As for where this will keep going, I'll plan to do the other roster members, some of which have already been photographed, such as a pair of Jeeps and an SD9 long boy up in here. But there will also be a few bonus locomotives too, which were never really featured, but The other ones will be from road numbers seen with throughout the approach medium videos of the route being built. But yeah, this has been Darkest One, and I shall see you next time. Signing off. Goodbye, all. Have a good evening.